Hell of a thing. Once again, another innocent black male incarcerated for decades, exonerated. All right, put up the picture for a mass. In New York, Mr. Jabar Walker spent 25 years in prison for a crime he never committed. He was cleared of wrongdoing last week. Walker was sentenced to 50 years to life after being accused in the mid-1990s of killing William Santana Guzman and Ismael de la Cruz, but he never did. I'm going to give you the background of this case and show you the extreme criminal elements involved in framing this man for double homicide. In May 1995, victims Guzman and de la Cruz were fatally shot by a perp who was sitting in a double-parked vehicle in Manhattan on 148th Street. That's according to the organization. It was a drug-related hit, and an eyewitness told law enforcement that the suspect fled to a nearby building. The case went cold, but was reopened 2 years later following cooperation from a witness identified as Vanessa Vigo. While investigating a separate case, NYPD detectives asked Vanessa if she had any intelligence on the 1995 double homicide. And she blamed Walker for the crime, per the Innocence Project. The next day, she wrote out a statement claiming that Walker fired 2 shots at the victim and was known to use the moniker Snoop or Black, which was a smoking gun because they received tips that the shooter used the nickname Black. Okay, yeah. Obviously an uncommon nickname. There's more. The reinvestigation into the case revealed that Walker was not known by that nickname and that the informant was inconsistent with her testimony and that she had misidentified people in a separate shooting case. Also, according to the organization Innocence Project, the prosecution gave her money for her apartment, for her testimony against Walker. Now, why is that part important for the Innocence Project to know? When the question is posed, ma'am, have you been promised anything by the state or given anything today for your testimony? No, I have not. Perjury. That is a lie. And the prosecution was supposed to volunteer this information through discovery. They did not. There's more. In a handwritten statement, Walker mentioned his alibi the night of the shooting, telling police he was in Queens at the time of the incident and returned to that particular area with his friend the following day when he learned what happened. So he was there the day after, not there the day of. The police did not confirm Walker's whereabouts with the witness who backed his explanation. According to the Innocence Project, Walker never mentioned going by the Black, but a detective, and that's the nickname, but a detective wrote that he did in his written statement. That was false. The reinvestigation revealed that another witness to the shooting, Mr. Carlos Young, told law enforcement that Walker was not behind the incident and that he saw another person carry out the crime, another unidentified person dubbed Mr. Santiago. Did not identify him as the shooter and wasn't called as a witness during the trial. This is called the fix. Ladies and gentlemen, it is illegal. They are now actively framing an innocent man and they are well aware. There's more. Despite this, Walker was accused of a murder for hire plot with De La Cruz as the target, while Guzman was an innocent bystander who got caught up in the crossfire, per the Innocence Project. John Mobley, who testified against Walker at the trial, admitted that he himself was strong-armed into blaming Walker as the assailant due to the pressure from law enforcement while he was in jail. He also was concerned that they, as dirty as they are, would pin a crime on him too if he did not cooperate. During this time, the organization noted officers from the NYPD 30th Precinct were notorious for corruption. Walker was offered a plea agreement but turned it down to go to trial. He told the judge, quote, "I did not commit this crime, Your Honor. And that's why I came here to trial, because I'm 100% innocent. I did not kill those people," end quote. Put up the man who helped secure his freedom. See, this is why leadership matters. That is your district attorney, Alvin Bragg. And you may not agree with everything DA Bragg has done. But it is because he decided to listen to the Innocence Project, reopen the investigation. An innocent man has been freed. After decades of being in prison, the Manhattan, New York DA, through the Innocence Project collaboration, freedom. Bragg said in a statement, not only was the case against Jabar Walker built on unreliable and recanted testimony, he did not have the benefit of an effective defense attorney. One of the constitutional bedrocks of our criminal justice system, Bragg said in a statement. That's per ABC News. Despite these serious issues, Mr. Walker received a sentence that could have kept him in prison for his entire life. I am thrilled he can now finally return home, and thank the Innocence Project for his steadfast advocacy throughout this matter. I want to say thank you to the Innocence Project as well. They do great work. If you are in position to contribute to them, please do. I want to highlight a couple of realities. Number one, do you think we are able to catch all of the frameworks and the misappropriated prosecutions that have happened to people in this country? Of course not. So for the ones we do catch, believe me, it's probably 100 behind that one, if not more, that we did not. How many people you believe took the deal? They took the plea agreement because the plea agreement was so much more attractive than the 50 years they would spend behind bars, knowing good and damn well these people were going to railroad them. So they say, yes, I'm guilty. Give me the 5 years or give me the 10 years. I'm just going to say I did it to get out of jail. But what about the fact that having a proper defense is so required in this nation that it is constitutionally mandated? You having a defense is constitutionally mandated. That is to secure your rights. The individuals who are involved should all be arrested. They should all be indicted. We were able to report about a month and a half ago of prosecutors finally getting indicted for doing things like this to innocent people. That needs to be the norm and not the exception. All right, Sharon, thoughts here.
Yeah, you're the legal mind in this conversation, Doc, but I was actually wondering as you were giving these horrific details if prosecutorial immunity is absolute. I know the Supreme Court took it up and at one point said yes, it was tested again. And I don't know where that is because the details you describe are absolutely criminal conduct. Frame up is a crime. And I don't see any way around that here. It's no one believed that they were doing justice if they had to resort to that, including, as you mentioned, perjury. So,
yeah.
Wow. Thank goodness for the Innocence Project. Can you imagine if we didn't even have that?
Yeah. And you're right about the prosecutorial immunity dynamic, and the Supreme Court routinely has upheld it. So typically the way it works now, if it is within the scope of their profession, and they can make a case that they had good, reliable information that this was the truth, they get to escape without having any criminal penalty. But It is not supposed to cover actual criminal behavior. That is clear in the ruling. It is not supposed to cover actual criminal behavior of a prosecutor.